Hello, this is a tutorial on how to write your book using Google Drive to organize your entire book. First we already created our story slash novel folder, and inside that folder, we make a folder either right clicking or pressing that new button that I'm pressing right now, and you just write the title of your book, basically. This is just me demonstrating how I did that. Now we press the actual folder. Inside, this is where most of our stuff is going to be. We right click, press to make this document. We right click, press Google, make a Google Doc, and boom, we just put in the title, our subtitle, and chapter one, and so on and so forth. For page setup, I have statement 0.5 for top and bottom, 0.75 for left and right, but it is your preference if you want it bigger, smaller, however you want it. If you even want the page color to be black, that's your preference. So for world building, we have I made one drawing already, so I just went to Pinterest, found a map of Panem, and I downloaded it, put it here. So for your world building, you probably don't have a map. You can't find a map on Pinterest. You can use map resources to like make your own world building map of your own world, or you can just go with vibes. And yep, map of Panem, excuse me. So yeah, other things that you can do for world building, I think you can also get like vibes for your world, whatever like kind of resonates with your world. You can go ahead and go on with that, download some images about it, and make a Google drawing. Here, this is our brain dump folder. We're just going to dump up all our ideas for this world. We're going to you can obviously organize it with tabs, like if you want different countries, like, oh, this is going to be so and so, so and so. You can do that. But the document that we're making is basically what is going to be a world dump folder. So just dump up all your ideas on that. And this is the next one, my books vibes. This is like a folder that's kind of optional, but if you have an aesthetic that you're going for this book, if and you find yourself like sidetracking from that aesthetic, you definitely can go ahead, find out like what's your aesthetic, like what's your book's aesthetic. If you think like say your character the like say your character is a writer or like a tradesman, you can do tradesman aesthetic, like, and then just have that, since if your protagonist is a writer, then it's obviously going to be a big part of your book, your protagonist's occupation. So for my book's drive, I'm not going to actually download anything because I do not want this to just close up on me. This computer this computer's memory is terrible, so going back to the Hunger Games, back to this, we go to characters. I already made a folder for characters. If you haven't, just right click or press new when you're in your folder. For this, now we have our character thing, but I'm pretty sure we're going to go over it later. So for title, we just make this a title. We can give it a different font, something nice, whatever kind of resonates with you, as said again. And that is my memory. Gotta delete some tabs. So for character templates, you can obviously go on Pinterest or Instagram, find like some character questions, like, a list of what you need to know about your character. If that's not something that you like to do, you can just have a few questions and like lots of pictures, like maybe have a mood board instead of this plain Google Doc. But like you still have to have the basic information like their full name, their occupation, age. I mean, you can have other niche things like height, weight, like all of that stuff, even race and gender. I don't think that's niche. That's something like basic info. So, finishing to type. I was typing so slow this day. Awkward silence. Anyways, so for basic info, I usually like just doing something like this, also having other questions about their personality. I love using MBTI in Enneagram, like anything that you like to do for basically just character personality, that's where you should go. That's what you should go for, at least. But I don't really go in depth with that. I just, you know, now for Google Docs, I usually add pictures or just wait, no, we're doing something else before that. As stated, this is a voiceover. So this is like character development. I have subtabs inside my main character tab where I just talk about their character development. Like say Katniss's character development, still sticking with that Hunger Games theme. Peeta's character development, Primrose's character development before. Okay, I shouldn't make a joke about that. But yes, if you've watched or read Hunger Games, you know what I'm talking about. So for storytelling, like character development, I usually divide mine since I have three parts in my current work in progress. I do like Act One, Act Two, Act Three, and I also have questions which you can find again on Pinterest, Instagram, like anywhere that you can find a character template, like questions that you can find. So I'll just ask, oh, what do they feel? How do they feel in the beginning, the middle, the end? And then other niche things like, oh, what do they want? Like how does their personality change throughout the book? How do they all of that. And now we're just going to be copying and pasting this. I usually fill out the protagonist's like character sheet and then I just copy and paste for the other characters, like delete the things I wrote for the protagonist. Well, yeah, that's what I do. So now, like, I make pictures on, like, I make sure that I have pictures, something visual to set myself up with, especially when it's characters. For the Hunger Games, there's a movie literally based on this franchise, so it's easy to just go search up Katniss Everdeen, and as you can see, you'll find lots of pictures of her. For me, I just search up this is really like it's good to have your character's appearance in mind. Like I'll just search up girl with short brown hair, this and this and this, and I just hope for the best. Now I just pick a picture on whatever, like I search it up on Pinterest, find the picture, download that image, and then the next thing is actually really important. We go to insert image and upload from computer. When we upload it from our computer, the thing is going to come up. It doesn't show here, but Now for settings, we make sure that it's like um it's kind of squished between the text, not part of the text, but like the second thing that I just picked. If you just scroll back to see what I did, you'll find out exactly what I did. I just chose the second option, like be right next to the text. Now for I really like doing this, like having a, a bold layout behind the picture. You don't really need to do it, but it's cool if you have your character's color palette. You can also make, the title, their name, and the headings also their color palette. And now we're making another folder. Again, how to make a folder in Google Drive. Either right click or press plus/new while being in the folder that you want to be. This is a folder for research, and we're back at the Hunger Games folder, by the way. Stories, novels, Hunger Games, and research. This is especially good for historical fiction, excuse me, and other real world stories like that you want to research, especially when you want to do something about a real place. Like you could probably use Google Earth as well, but I'm not really familiar with that, so I do what I do. So for the Undercity, one of the places in my novel, and for this, I don't really research. Instead, I just go for like, oh, how was life in the 1940s to 1950s? Because that's like, my book is a bit based on that timeline. So yeah, research can also just be classified as world building if you're a fiction writer, but like you'll still need really niche research like, oh, what would my characters eat? What would my characters like do in their day-to-day life? What would they entertain themselves with? So it's best you find a time period that suits your novel and like kind of research about that. Like, oh, what did people do in the 1800s like as a pastime hobby? And then also, I did not add this in this video, but I like researching governments like the video, but something I didn't add is I like doing basically, I'm trying to find that word. You know what? Never mind. Since I'm moving on, this video is faster than I imagined. We're still on the Hunger Games. We just went back, and now another. We're making another we're making another folder, I guess. I don't know why I'm being so slow. Anyways, this is for settings. And here we can just post basically our settings vibes. Like say, I don't know, back to that, oh, your character's a writer. So his one of the settings could be like, oh, how does the like paper, the newspaper place where he works at, how does it look? So like you would try to find pictures based off of that. You could also Google, I don't know, anything aesthetic, like anything that kind of resonates with your setting. You could make folders based off of that, like, oh, this is where my character works. This is like, it looks a lot like how my character lives. It looks a lot like where my character lives. Sorry for that again. And also, just things. You can also make a separate folder for things that are very important in your world, like very important to your character or anything like that. And right now, I won't actually do anything to this folder, but yes, that's settings. Now going back to the Hunger Games, this is the last folder that we have to make, I'm sure. And this is my favorite, I think, because it's scene cards. I love scene cards, And I like using them because when I try to write using just my first draft, like, having 10 chapters, 25 chapters in a row, and it's just like, yeah. And this could, like, it kind of makes me proud, like, oh, why should I write more? I already wrote so much. And also for the opposite reasons. You can see this, like, blank thing, like by Mary Ruth and all this. But having just a scene card helps you a lot with, like, getting your ideas in one place and then pasting them to my first draft, which is what I do. I write one chapter in one separate doc, and when I'm done, I paste it to my main draft. Here, my story has part one, like, three different parts. And also, if you've read The Hunger Games, you know that The Hunger Games has two parts. Wait, three parts. Yeah, three. I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. Of course, there's three parts. Um, for part one, part two, even if you don't have parts in your novel or short story, it's still like, it's not that big of a deal. Just, I mean, make a Google Doc, make your first scene, your second scene, so on, so forth. But first, before that, we need chapter outlines. Chapter outlines, I hate them, but I still complete them. Thankfully, like, for me, I just need, like, one paragraph to two paragraphs of what is going to happen in my chapter. If you can't figure this out, like, it's okay. You don't have to work in order. Something that everybody needs to know. You don't have to work in order when you're writing. It's your first draft, so just calm down and write everything like you want to write it. So, chapter outline, if you don't have parts, you don't have to add part one. And chapter one will be heading two, as always, yada yada yada, for whatever. And then chapter two would also be yada yada yada, because, I mean, I'm not actually about to write a summary of The Hunger Games chapter one. And I also, since I have multiple works, I like writing in the actual title. Also for my folders, even though I didn't do it today, I like, writing my, say, OBTW, short for One Bridge, Two Worlds. I would write OBTW, like, at the front of each folder title. If you have multiple projects, that can also get you organized as well. Now we are going to actually do the scene card. This is for chapter one. And here we just, like, I mean, first basic information. Wait, let's wait on myself. I don't know why I'm so slow. Maybe I'm talking. Okay, so for scene one. Scene one, just write it in normal text. It really doesn't matter, and I I literally can't spell. I can't spell. I don't know. Can any other writers just not find out regular things that regular people are supposed to know, obviously, but we sometimes don't? Scene one, if you have a chapter title, it's best to add it like, scene one, yada yada yada. And here would just be basic information, and that would be heading one. And so, what counts as basic information is like POV characters. I'd say POV characters, what happens in this, like, what happens in this chapter? Because like to think of every chapter as a, I like to think of every chapter as kind of like, a slope, as in its own story, even though it's not its own story. It has to set up for chapter two. And scene, like, scene one would be its own slope, leading to scene two, leading to scene three, and a POV character, I just put a random person, Primrose. What is happening in this chapter? This is where we go back to our chapter outline. When I usually finish like 5 of these chapter outlines, I like to copy paste them and put them to what is happening in this story so that I actually know what I'm doing. It does not have to be long. The chapter outline does not have to be long because it's an outline. It's just supposed to be one paragraph max. I have characters and scene. Like, I'm just putting random people at this point. Peta's in here, Katniss, and Primrose, I guess. I mean, obviously, she's a POV character. Now, for what these characters are feeling, I really like doing this because, I mean, these characters have to be feeling something throughout this chapter. Katniss would be feeling mischievous. Peta would be feeling so and so. Primrose would be feeling so and so. But for your characters, you can fill that out as you would like. Now going down, and I just press tab to make it, to make it like an indent, but it's not a real indent if you press tab. I think I talked about that in one of my short videos. This video will be in a playlist, so you can find my short videos if you just go to my page, find the playlist. Back to back to the video, rising action, yada yada yada, but like, please put your rising action here. And I write falling action here first, but it's actually supposed to be rising action, climax, and then falling action. I will write it though. Okay, climax is here. Please type faster. Okay, now we go back, heading 2. And what's with these scene cards? Like, you can basically make yourself anything, like, the font, for the font. It does not have to be like a very serious font like my first draft. I use like, um, what do you call it? Canvas Sans. I use Canvas Sans like for my scene cards, but then my first draft looks so serious and plain. This is because I actually write here, and now next thing is over, questions to ask. I like, doing this to make sure that like this chapter matters, to make sure that it actually contributes to my book. And now draft, I like putting start here if I'm not actually ready to finish it. Then I just, press the title. If you have the title already, then it's automatically going to come in. And I just copy paste that. Again, with fonts, like, you can play around with, especially when you're doing scene cards. Like, you don't really have to go in with like what everybody else is doing. You can do whatever you want with these scene cards. You can add questions. You don't have to do it word for word with how I'm doing it. And yeah, you can just, I mean, for me, whenever I finish a scene, I always make the words white and the page black. I'm pretty sure, like, at the beginning of this video, we talked about how to make the page black, even though we didn't actually do it. We go to page setup, then go to page color. It's usually white. Just go scroll down to black. And back to characters, this is also a bonus. I love characters. They're literally the reason that I fall in love with my stories. So I like having character voice. This is especially great for like if you're writing a POV book, you need to have like, those characters distinct from each other. They don't need to sound the same. For character voice, you obviously need to like, find your own prompts for that. Like find Pinterest is such a lifesaver for me. For this one, I love finding them from Pinterest. And then I would just make it each its own character, like say Katniss, Peeta. For my own characters, I just put Sage's character voice and just random side episodes, side quest, whatever they're doing, I feel like they should do. That's what I would do. That's what I would write, but in their voice and try to make it sound like their voice. And next is character fluff. This is just for all those like, chapters that we don't really need, but I feel like I need them. This is where I add them. Character fluff. And that is the end. Happily ever after. This is the end of how to write your book using Google Drive to organize. And I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. And I do know that I didn't really cover everything perfectly since, I've used Google Docs for 2 years now for writing. So I feel like I've learned enough to make this video, and what I want people to take from this video is just like I just want them to learn something about Google Drive. I want you to be able to format your book, like make it for like have your format clean and organized in Google Drive because before those before that time I watched this video, I will link it in the description, but before that I was so scared. I thought I would not it was just really messy, but now that the video that I linked, I watched it. After I watched it, I was better. So I hope that as you watch this video, you get to just like know what you're doing when you're going into Google Drive. So if this helped you, please like and share. Also comment down below.